Hi guys, welcome back to Herbhome. I'm Jeannie. If you're new, we're a 33-acre homestead down in Newton County, Arkansas, and we talk about a lot of different things. I'm down here sitting in the cool while the water bucket fills. You know, I'm filling from a big tank into a 55-gallon barrel, so it's easier. Brief thing about water is we could run pipe. We've done it before, do automatic waters, but there's quite a bit of hassle in draining those pipes unless you run them underground, and we're almost pure rock up here. So I am retired, and I've got a lot of time, and I like to mess with the rabbits anyhow. So I go ahead and I do it by hand. I don't have that many. I'm not planning on having any more. So as far as I know, it's probably going to be just as easy or easier to do it this way. So anyhow, I'm waiting on that to finish filling. Trying to do a few things about rabbits right now. Let's talk a little bit about different breeds of rabbits. Most of the commercial breeds used to be Californian and New Zealand. The Californians had the black ears and sometimes black markings on them, and the New Zealand's were all white with the pink eyes. And you had giant Flemish, and there are a lot of different breeds of rabbits. Here in Arkansas, the heat has always been a real issue in raising rabbits. You know, rabbits usually handle the cold pretty well if you've got a good place for them to kindle, to have their babies. But heat is a real issue here. Oh, excuse me, got an itchy spot. They have to be able to stay reasonably cool. And I started doing some research since I'd been out of the business for a while, and stumbled across Tamuk as a breed. And there's several different layers of it, depending on how deep into the crossbreeding they've gone. But Texas A&M University has, I think it's Kingsville, I don't have it in front of me, but down in Texas, they have bred these rabbits for having larger ears and thinner coats, and so that they can handle the heat better. And I found these guys are doing pretty good with it. I do make pop bottles full of ice available to them so they can nibble on them, and keep a lot of water available, and use shade cloth and everything to try and keep it as cool as possible. But I've been real pleased. The kits have dressed out quite heavy. The mothers have kindled easily and well. I mean, so far, so good. I'm real pleased with the breed, and I'm going to stick with it. Okay, rabbit genetics. Now, if I was breeding specifically to sell rabbits for further breeding or for show rabbits, I would be bringing in outside rabbits. As it is now, my buck is out of a completely different line than my two does are, and so I would not be keeping their kits as breeding for, sale or anything. But because we're keeping them for a specific purpose, we can go ahead and line breed like that, and they produce good rabbits without any faults or anything. I haven't seen any genetic issues. But if you plan on doing anything major, you do need to check your genetics and watch it very carefully, because you get so many issues of illness and hip disorders and, just a lot of possible defects that you need to be really aware of, and educate yourself about that. And there are a lot of good information videos out there. There are a lot of good books about that. We have a very specific purpose for our rabbits, and also and the thing about rabbits is they're a multi-purpose animal for us. We have the meat, we have the manure, which is what they call a cold manure. You can put it immediately onto crops. I usually tend to compost it with worms, and then add it to our garden beds. or you can sell it at farmer's market. Sack up a bag in a dog food bag and sell your rabbit manure. A lot of people ask for it specifically. And you can do the hides. If you're interested in doing tanning at all, you can do the hides, which we'll probably do later on. You know, they're so soft and nice. And I have a youngster who wants to come down here and learn, and probably the next time I dress rabbits, I'll show him how to do some tanning. I know several different methods, and we'll start him with the simplest one, and he can go from there. I think his long-term goal is to have a tanning business. You know, he's already blacksmith and forger, so see if we can help him get a good going on that. And I was trying to think of some of the other immediate things. We've covered genetics. Rabbits need to be kept fairly cool in the summer. Anytime it gets up around 80, you need to have some sort of other provision for them. They are, sorry, I've got gnats coming at me. They're pretty much survivors, but they need a little help when it gets so hot. You know, if you've got a good windbreak in the winter and a good nesting box, they do pretty good. Cages. I like at least a 36-inch wide cage for them. I want them to have enough room to have a good nest box and have some form of thumper board. We used to do wooden thumper boards, but they're so prone to mites if you do that. They have some really neat soft plastic ones out now that I've gotten for them, and my guys are really enjoying them. They're using them. So, you know, but something to protect them so they don't get sore hocks. And nest boxes, when I usually put my nest boxes in about a week before the does kindle, and that gives her time to pull fur. You know, my two girls, my older girls, both pull their fur like that day. Now, I've had does that have pulled fur 2 weeks ahead. You know, it just depends. And it is a good nest box that is high enough that the younger kits stay in and got a good enough opening where the doe isn't crushing the babies when she goes in. A lot of people do a nest box that does not have a top on it. I like to put a top on it, a partial top on it, so that the kits can get up there and play until we pull the nest box. And I think I'm going to stop this one here. I've got to go check on that water. And we'll do another one about our breeding and weaning schedule whenever take another break, okay? I'll see you guys in a little while. You have a good day. Bye-bye.